Welcome back to Coach Vibes. We got episode number 3 of Coach Vibes. I'm here with a Valley Stream legend, Coach Tom Schiavo. Right now, Coach is the head football coach at Valley Stream Central High School. He's had about over 30 years in the education field as a teacher and coaching, as well as in all parts of the Valley Stream Central High School district. So, Coach, thank you so much for coming on.
Good morning, Matt. It's a pleasure to be here.
Good morning. Yeah. Hey, listen. Thank you so much. This is a great honor. One of Coach Schiavo's nice little decisions was to hire me a few years ago.
That's right.
I got a great experience with Coach, and we're here to just talk about Coach's career, how high school sports on Long Island has impacted him, and what his coaching career entails, and how he is just a memorable figure in the Valley Stream community. So, Coach, let's just start going back to the 80s, your playing years, I believe, right? The 80s?
Yeah, actually in the 70s.
In the 70s too? Okay.
Yeah, I started in the 70s with the Green Hornets.
Okay, so let's go way back then. So your first experience is playing Valley Stream Hornets football. So can you just kind of talk about that really quick and how it all started?
Sure, I was very reluctant to play, and my father made me do it. And I remember crying going to the field and not wanting to be there. And I was surrounded by some really wonderful people, and I had a great experience. And after a while, sports, athletics became my identity. It became what I wanted to do more than anything.
Wow, that's amazing. I think it was the same thing with. I think my first love was probably baseball. So I kind of had that same feeling. I didn't cry going to the field, but I'm glad that it worked out in your favor, because if you look now, it's you've impacted so many people positively over your career that I guess you're probably thankful that you went to the field.
I'm very thankful that my father made me do it. I wound up doing football, wrestling, and baseball. And like you, baseball was probably the sport I was best at.
Okay.
Football was the sport I liked the most. Wrestling, I don't know, I just kept coming back for more, and I love that too. And I love coaching all three of them.
That's amazing. I remember me asking you on the practice field about wrestling, and you literally listed off, it had to be like 10 different jobs as a wrestling coach, which I don't know if we're going to get to it today, but I want to ask you about your wrestling days, because that was incredible. You listed like doctor, lawyer, I can't even name it. You listed like so many. You probably remember off the top of your head.
Matthew Liakos is my cardiologist.
That's amazing. So let's just move on to high school.
Okay.
High school memories. High school playing. What was it like? You were in the 80s right now, so I know I brought up the 80s before. Talk to me about high school football in the 80s on Long Island. What was it like? Who impacted you positively, coaching-wise or player-wise, your teammates, and some things like that?
Okay. Well, in the 80s, I was at Valley Stream Memorial as a junior high player, and Jimmy Tronalone was my coach, and he was a big influence on us. He was a great guy, and he got a lot out of us. He was a very motivating type of a person. And then after junior high, I came over here to Central, and I had the legend coach me. His name was Mr. Mantrone, Dan Mantrone. Dan Mantrone went to John Adams High School. Then he played football and wrestled at Auburn in the 40s. He was an All-American at Auburn in wrestling in the 40s, and he was a starting guard. Then he came to Central. His 8 children went to Central, and the man showed me kindness, and the man was good to all his players, and I love the guy. And then after JV football, I moved up to varsity football, and I played for Coach Dan Tronalone, Jimmy's brother. And Mr. Tronalone was tough, disciplinarian. He had expectations of his players and their behavior, and but he was fair. He was fair. He always put the guy who earned the spot on the field, and I enjoyed playing for him. Those are some good times. When I was in 12th grade, we only had 7 seniors on the team, and we had a pretty tough team. We wound up going 3-5 that year. We lost the last game of the year on a field goal on the last play of the game. The score was 10-8. We lost to West Hempstead, who was a county finalist. And the next year, that group of kids who were juniors when I was a senior went undefeated, and in the regular season, and played Sewanaka in the championship game and lost in the championship game. So, I played with a bunch of really great guys in high school, guys that I would call friends for life.
I think that's one of the main reason why I would tell any kid right now to play high school sports is the friendships and the memories that pretty much are everlasting. I still see people that I played with that I still speak to, like I could probably name one or two right now off the top of my head. I'm not going to, but it's just a great experience when you get that as a young adolescent or kind of like an, middle-aged adolescent, just to have those memories of being with your friends, being in a positive place with positive role models.
Yeah.
And going back to the Trotalones, did they have any lasting impact that you kind of take now and you instill with the kids that you coach?
Yeah, definitely. Jimmy just had a way of getting the best out of players, so it was kind of like a psychology type of thing. He pushed buttons in me that other people couldn't get. And coaching with Danny, actually playing for Danny Trotalone, I wound up coaching with Danny Trotalone as well. And I coached football with him, and we coached wrestling together. And what I took away from Danny was it's okay to have real high expectations and be real tough, but also be very, very good to the kids. And Danny was an organizational wizard. He was always prepared. And Danny gave me some good advice for coaching for the future when I was going to be a head coach. He said, listen, he goes, you build the program, and when the kids come through, you'll win. And he was right. He was right. Danny was right about a lot of things. And I'm grateful to Jimmy and Danny for both coaching, playing for them, and coaching with Danny eventually.
Very nice. So your first experience was coaching out here at Central?
Memorial.
Oh, Memorial.
That's coached at Memorial. Yeah, I walked into a Memorial Junior High School to work out with the wrestling team the year after I graduated high school.
Okay.
And as I was walking out of the building after practice, I saw Mr. Jackson, who was the athletic director at Memorial, but he was also my baseball coach when I went to Central.
Connections.
And Mr. Jackson said, we need a junior high assistant wrestling coach. Are you interested? And I said yes. And he said, if you have first aid and CPR by this day, the job is yours. So in January, I graduated in June of '87, and in January of '88, I was the junior high assistant wrestling coach. And then in September of '88, I was the junior high head football coach. It was just opportunities that I was given and I was able to take advantage of, and I really believe that God put me on the path to do that.
Yeah. What were those experiences like, just transitioning? Because I actually had somewhat of a similar situation with me. I went to Kellenberg, I graduated, and then I was at Hofstra, and I just stuck around the football program when I could after class. Mm-hmm. And you kind of had the same thing. You kind of just graduated and went right into junior high. Mm-hmm. But like, what were those first days, weeks coaching like as a 19-year-old fresh out of high school?
It was surreal. It was surreal. But I think playing for Coach Trotalone, I had an idea that even as an 18-year-old, 19-year-old, I had an idea that there was more to coaching than just X's and O's, and you kind of have a responsibility to teach kids about life. And football, wrestling, baseball, lacrosse, whatever sport you're coaching is really the vehicle to do that. And it's something that I've tried to do for the last 30 plus years. Use football or whatever sport I'm coaching as a vehicle. This year, all these years later, this year I coached football, wrestling, and golf.
Nice.
And I'm still trying to use sports as a vehicle to teach bigger and more important things. Because I look at all the kids I coach, they're going to be the patriarch or the matriarch of their family. And if they're not learning it here, where are they learning it?
Yeah, that's a great point. Mm-hmm. Was it more of like a little learn as you go at that age? Or did you feel like you kind of had to prepare yourself before when you were at that 19-year-old Tom Schiavo stage? What were your approach to? What was your approach?
Well, I had the things that I was exposed to as a player, mm-hmm. and then the things I was exposed to in my family. But from a very early age, I was exposed to incredible mentors. I've worked with, John Zabata, Bill Linkner, Harold Earl, Tom Maddock. Carmine Colasanto, Tom Pugh. All these guys are Hall of Famers.
Yeah, and
they have imparted a part of their knowledge onto me. And on day one of coaching, John Zabata told me the rule that I still have. It's my golden rule. My golden rule is always be good to the kids. Sometimes being good to the kids is being demanding, Sometimes it's being a little bit harsh. Sometimes it's giving a shoulder to cry on. And sometimes it's laughing with them. And, being good to the kids is different for every kid. But those are like that's the golden rule for me. Always be good to the kids.
And that pretty much applies to every facet of coaching, X's and O's. You're looking at the person, not the player. My head coach at high school, Coach Hanifin, he always talked about coach the person, not the player. So if for a football example, if a defensive back made a mistake and he let a receiver beat him for a touchdown, he would say coach the person, not the player. So that's a person you're talking to. Yeah. And you got to respect their values and their thoughts and their feelings, and you have to work with them as a person. That's a more effective way of getting to them to help them become better. Yeah.
Without a doubt. Coach Haney's a great guy. Coach the person, not the player. It goes for recruiting too. I have a boy who sits in the back of the classroom over there, and he's about 6'6", over 250, and I've been trying to recruit him to play. And the other day he told me, he's like, Coach, it's not for me. And I said, you know what? I said, don't worry about it. It's always about the person first. Our relationship is not based on the sport. It's about person first. And two people that I forgot to mention before were two incredibly influential people in my career as a head coach. All right, I met these guys, helped me as a head coach. One is named Tom Frawley. Tom Frawley is someone that went to Central High School. I believe he graduated in '69, and when I met him, he was teaching assistant over at South.
Okay.
And I got the head job here, and I said, Coach Frawley, I said, I got the head coach job at North, and I said, Coach Frawley, what do I have to do to be a head coach, a great head coach? And he said, number one, get off your high horse. In other words, humble yourself.
Yeah.
Number two, get sound. Know your offense, your defense, your special teams, and your sports psychology. And number three, get a mentor. And I've been blessed with mentors. So one night, we were at football camp, and Coach Lou Andre and I were in the stress locker at night football camp, and we were the only two in there. It was kind of late at night. We were hanging out talking, and I said, Coach, Frawley told me that I need, to get off my high horse, get sound, and get a mentor. And Coach Andre said, he goes, I'll be your mentor. Now, anybody who knows high school football knows Coach Andre.
Absolutely, yeah.
He is the most incredible mentor that anybody could have ever asked for. And I took the things that he taught me, and we resurrected a program at North. And I'm so thankful to all of my mentors,
And that's a great segue, because I actually wanted to get into North. So you're fresh out of college, you do your junior high gigs at Memorial. Kind of just take us through how you got to North and your experiences there, first day and everything like that.
Okay, so North, I was teaching. I coached junior high at Memorial, and then I was the head JV coach here at Central.
Okay.
And I got a job teaching. I was teaching U.S. history and government and global studies, and I didn't want to do that. So I went back to school and I got a master's in phys ed. And I was teaching. I was split between North and South.
Okay.
And then coaching at Central. So I did that for like 6 years. And I did that for a little bit. And one day I said, you know what, I'm never going to reach my potential as a coach if I don't coach in the building that I'm in.
Okay.
So I made the decision to leave Central and go to North. But North was going through a very, very, very difficult period of time. North had gone 2-30 the 4 years before I got there. North had 18 kids on varsity and 19 kids on JV. Their junior high program folded 2 years in a row, and varsity had forfeited 3 games. They were in it goes in waves, and
yes.
they were in a bottom of the wave. And so what I did was I went over to North and I coached the junior high for 2 years. Okay. And I rallied the troops. I had about 50 kids on the team both years. And then after that, the third year there, I took the varsity program over.
And what year was that?
That was 98.
1998. Okay, so kind of just break us down. You're named the head coach now. You have that 2 years of JV. So you know the kids that are coming up to you, or I would assume, right? So what do you tell those kids when it's your show, when it's your program to run and you're in charge of making all the decisions? What's it like?
Well, I said, you guys have a world of opportunity. And I said, you, one ninth grader, Vinny Matone, he had a great GPA. He was another night football camp kid.
Nice.
Great GPA, great morals and values, great family support, just a great kid. And I made him the cornerstone of the program, and we put him in place.
Right.
And then when we put him in place, we built the rest of the pyramid. And what Vinny became the bar for every other kid to be to strive to be academically, athletically, socially, and we really had a renaissance of the program. And
Right.
From one Vinny Matone, it kind of multiplied exponentially. We had 2 and 4 and 8 and 16, and the next thing you know, we're a small Conference 4 school with 170 kids playing football in a small Conference 4 school.
That's
70
incredible.
on junior high, 55 or 60 on JV, and 45, 50 on varsity. The numbers, it was an incredible place to be.
Yeah.
And it was an incredible time to be there, but it took time to do it. The first year we went 2-6. We won the first game. Then there was a couple of other rough years. And then in years 5 and 6, in year 5, we lost 4 games by a total of 7 points. And then in year 6, we lost 4 games by a total of 11 points. And then in year 7, we cracked into Hofstra, and we finished in the Big Four.
Yes.
And after that, we just kept it going.
The illustrious Big Four. I grew up in Massapequa, and I would see Massapequa shirts of, they were, they're pretty good team, and they would always have the Big Four shirts. And I always wondered, I'm like, it must be a big achievement to get to the Big Four if they got to make a T-shirt about it.
It really is.
It really is, yeah. And who kind of helped you along the way? I know you mentioned 2 mentors when you got the job. Anybody else, assistant coach-wise, or anybody else that doesn't have to necessarily be a coach, who helped you so much when you took that job running North?
Well, Herb May was the athletic director at North at that time, and he gave me the opportunity. And Walter Backman was the athletic director after Herb May, and he supported me because I had some rough times after that. And then I had the most incredible blessing that could have ever happened to any coach. I hired an assistant, and his name was Carmine Colasanto. Bill Fink was the Rydell rep for Central, or for North, and he said, Tommy, he goes, Carmine Colasanto lives around the block from Central, and he's available to coach. He just retired. And I said, well, tell me a little bit about Carmine Colasanto. And he said, Carmine Colasanto is the all-time winningest coach in New York City high school football history at Lehman High School in the Bronx. He goes, he's looking to get back in. So Carmine and I met, and we hit it off right away. Then I said, Carmine, would you like to come to a clinic with me this Saturday? And he said, yeah, I'll go. So we went to the clinic, and we were watching a demonstration on tackling.
Okay.
And a kid named Sariki, who played for Carmine at Lehman, saw Carmine in the office, in the audience. And he stopped what he was doing in the tackling thing, and he came out into the audience, and he looked at Carmine, and he said, Coach C, and he embraced him.
Yeah.
And then he pushed him, he held him away like this,
Yeah.
and he embraced him again. And I said, I have to coach with this person. And then Carmine came in and coached, and we wound up going on a run. And he took over the offense, did a great job, but more than the offense, more than the defense, he was just an amazing human being. He brought everybody together, and became a big influence in my life, and I'm very, very grateful to him and really all of my mentors. It's amazing the people that I've been blessed to be around.
Yeah, I just think it's just so awesome that, and I mean this like truthfully, you have so many mentors that influenced you, but I don't think you realize the influence that you have. And I only coached with you for 2 years, and I still coach. I'm not joking. I still remember, and I even said it to my wife a little while ago. If the 2 biggest were what was it? Say the quote, please.
If is the biggest 2-letter word in the dictionary.
And I remember you saying it to the kids out at Central, and I'm like, oh my goodness, it's just insane. It's like all of that knowledge that you got from all of those mentors, and like I'm just standing there watching you, listening to you speak to the kids at Central, and it's like, this guy is like, if I want this guy to be my head coach, I want this guy to be my teacher for my kids. It's like, so all of that positive energy that you've had, it comes out every time you speak to kids.
I appreciate that.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's just a great thing that you really are showing how much you appreciate people that helped you, because every little good positive piece of those people, it comes out when you talk to kids.
Yeah, it's like John Mealy is the Hall of Fame coach from North.
Yeah.
And he coached Dan Tronalone.
Yeah.
And Dan Tronalone, and Mealy is alive in Tronalone. And Tronalone coached me.
It's incredible.
And
yeah.
Tronalone's alive in me. And hopefully the kids and coaches I've worked with, I'll be alive in them. You know, I got to tell you though, I had a wonderful experience one day, and it speaks to where that comes from, and it's spiritual. So I was getting acupuncture one day, and the acupuncturist said, "What do you do for a living?" And I said, "A coach. I'm a football coach and a teacher." And she said, "Wow." She goes, "Do you like your job?" And I said, "I love my job." I said, "I've been doing it for over 30 years. I don't know how someone could love something so much for so long."
Yeah.
And then the acupuncturist person said, she goes, "Well, I think I might be able to explain that a little bit." And I said, "Yeah." She goes, "Do you want to hear?" And I said, "Yeah, please tell me." And she goes, "When love comes from self, it's limited. But when love comes from source, meaning God,
Yeah.
it's limitless.
Yeah.
And
absolutely.
you're probably doing what you were meant to do." And that's what I like to think. And it explained something to me, and it just made a lot of sense. It felt really good.
Yeah. That's profound. Yeah. It's just incredible that, like, I haven't seen you since August, and I still remember that speech when you would give those kids. It just sticks in my mind.
Thank you.
So yeah, absolutely. It's just a great little message that you can two letters, and it makes a big difference. All right, let's stop time for a second. Let's say
boy.
you can go in a time machine. You can go back to 1998. You're the head football coach, day one. What would you go back and tell Tom Schiavo then?
I would tell him to get off his high horse, get sound, and listen to his mentors better. I would probably limit some of the things that I did, make it a little bit less rocket science. You know what I mean? Like,
Gotcha.
You know,
Simplify it?
I was just trying to do too much and
Yeah.
maybe be too much and whatnot, and just
I know hindsight's 20/20.
yeah.
But it's just a great thing to think about. It's like, wow, you just go through those moments and you're just trying to do the best that you possibly can in
Yeah.
the moment. And it's looking back and reflecting, it's like, wow, maybe I could have, like you said, I could have not made it rocket science. I could have just simplified it, or I could have did something else. It's just, it's a really interesting question that I figured you would have a really great insight on.
You know, Rob Paul said it, the Seaford legend. All right,
Okay.
Rob Paul. Yeah, they don't make him like him anymore. He's amazing. He said, "I'd rather practice one thing 1,000 times
Yeah.
than 1,000 different things one
Once.
time each.
Yeah.
Let's get great at this." And I think that's what I would tell the younger me.
Gotcha. Okay. I agree. I agree with that. Any great games, moments that pop out in your
Lots.
memory with North?
Lots.
I know you had a not so fun moment at Hofstra you told me about a couple years ago, but I'm sure there's some positives in there too.
Oh, there's a ton of positives. I think that the best thing about the Valley Stream Central High School District is the kids here. The kids are absolutely amazing. They're raised right. They are like the desert when it gets rain. They absorb
Yeah.
everything you teach them. There's no talking trash about the coaches and throwing people under the bus or anything like that. The kids at North and here line up and shake your hand after practice and say good night, thank you for coaching me.
Yeah.
I mean, what I've taken away from this is this town, this place where I've been blessed to coach for most of my career, has provided me with an unending resource of just amazing young people to work with. And you know, I've tried to care about every kid and coach every kid every single day and put them in a position to succeed when they have the opportunity to show what they can do.
Yeah.
And some kids are better than others, you know, but every single kid has a significant and substantial role on the team, whether they're the starter or a scout team player. And we try and let them know that.
I think the one thing that's really really great that you brought up the community, and this is a positive. I remember we were driving to, I forgot the deli. We were grabbing something to eat after practice one day, and you were just telling us stories about, hey, this kid's, yeah, his brother lives over here on this block. Oh, do you know this kid? Yeah, his mother lives over here on this block. And it's like, and this is a compliment. It's like you're the mayor. It's like you know everybody, and you like the positive energy that you give off is so amazing.
Thank you.
That you really like. You're able to just like say, remember this like pinpoint memory and how you talk to this kid's mother about playing football. No, come back. It's okay. Like I think someone got hurt or something like that, and you talk to their mother, and it's like those stories I don't think is really talked about enough in high school sports around here. Yeah. And Long Island is such a small community that like everybody knows each other for the most part. If you don't live on Long Island, you won't understand it. Yeah. So if you know someone here and you are around this area and you've grown up here, like that, those stories are really, really amazing and profound to hear, because it's just like one little moment can flip a switch with someone and they can just become someone that they should be, that they would aspire to be, maybe they didn't even know.
Yeah.
And someone like you pushes them.
We have a great story about that. This kid, and he turned out to be just a wonderful, wonderful young man, Joseph Grasso. He tells the story the best, but Mr. Koskowitz, he tells a similar story. A lot of guys tell a similar story.
Yeah.
Joe Grasso said he was riding his bike around North in 8th grade with a radio on his ear like this.
Yeah.
And I said, come on, let's go, you're playing football. And the next thing you know, he was a 4-year night football camp guy and a football player at North, and captain of the team, and is a great kid.
Yeah,
there's a lot of stories like that.
Exactly. Changed his life, because now he had all the values that all those coaches had and instilled on him. Hopefully that would carry for that kid's life.
I'll tell you, I always was a big believer in recruiting, and one of my coaches didn't recruit at all. He had a completely opposite philosophy of me. His philosophy was, I'm not recruiting anybody. I want kids who are intrinsically motivated to be here, kids who know something about football and have the fire to do it. And me, I always looked at it kind of like, there's so many kids that slip through the cracks when they're little, all right, that aren't playing youth football. And then when you get to the middle school, there's kids who don't know the football from a Frankfurter. So if nobody talks to them about it, they'll never know. Yeah. And then I used to have a lot of pride, because in my office at North, I had every inch of the wall covered with team pictures of football, wrestling, baseball, badminton, anything, lacrosse I did, anything I did. And I'd say 80% of the kids on those walls never played football before we met, never wrestled before we met, or whatever. It's a huge percentage of kids that got introduced to the sport by recruiting.
Right.
Here, when I came here, there was 54 kids playing football on varsity and JV at Central. Now we have about 110. Because I believe in the recruiting. I believe in the football program being the foundation of the athletic culture in the building.
Yeah, absolutely. That's funny that you bring that up, because my playing career and going back to Coach Hannafin, he actually said the same thing. And you said the same thing out here too in the practice fields. It's really like, you really set the trend for the school year. It's September, all the kids are excited. Well, some of the kids are excited to be back in school, but they get to at least watch a football game on Saturday afternoon. And it really sets a tone if you come out, you do a good job and you play hard. And I think the kids see that and respect that.
Yeah. We had a former principal at North, Dr. Troisi, and he was our principal at North for 4 years, and then he became an assistant superintendent up at District. But he said, the year went as the football season went.
Yeah.
They had a tremendous football season at Montauk. It was a tremendous school year in all aspects.
Yeah.
So I really think that football permeates a lot of different parts of the culture in the building. We try and be respectful. We wear collared shirts instead of jerseys the day before a game. We do Impact Day that I got from Coach Wineclaw at Mineola, where our players share their jersey and ask a teacher to wear their jersey for part of the day as a token of appreciation for the impact that the teacher made on their life. We fundraise. We go to St. Mary's Hospital for Children to give back to the kids who are less fortunate than us, and also learn lessons about an appreciation for the blessings that we have.
Yeah.
So, it's a lot. It's a lot. This vehicle is a very precious vehicle.
Yeah, for those of you that don't know, there's a hospital in Queens that
Bayside.
Bayside, Queens, that Coach takes his team to pretty much every year.
Yeah, for the last 20 years.
And it's a really great experience that all these kids get to, and I was part of it as well. They get to see they get to interact with the patients there, and it changed my life. We made a call for it as a nice, respectful way for one of the patients we met, Mary. So we made a Mary call. I don't know what exactly it was for, but I know I was all right. I'm going to put this on defense. So yeah, it was, and that's an everlasting thing. Another great part of high school sports is not really talked about, which is something that should be brought to light. And I'm glad we got to discuss that. So moving on from North, your tenure ends. How many years were you there for North as the head coach there?
I was at North for 30 years, but the head coach for 21.
21 long years.
21 wonderful years.
Wonderful years. Okay, long years in a good way, but yes, wonderful.
My experience at North was incredible. It was really a blessing.
That's 2 decades of coaching. That's a lot of kids that you
impact.
Well,
more than that because
actually,
I
you're right.
coached the junior high too, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So where do you go after? So what happens to you after North?
Well, Carmine Colasanto was everything to me that I needed in an assistant coach, and I couldn't do it all alone. And Carmine needed to resign. He needed to spend some time with his family. He was in his early 70s, and it was just time for him. So after the last game, he broke the news to me, and it was too much. So I thought I had the next guy who was gonna help me out, and it didn't work out. He didn't get hired. And when he didn't get hired, I decided it was time for me to go at North too, because it was just too much for one person to do. Mm-hmm. And I left. And I had a buddy who had the head football coach at Long Island, football coaching position at Long Island City High School in Queens. And I went and helped him out for a couple of summers, one summer, and the next summer. And then I had like the year of me where I went around to a Michigan game, I went to a few West Point games, I went to a Virginia Tech game, and
you got to experience some college football.
Yeah, I
That's
stayed
great.
around college football. It was awesome. And then the third year out, Mineola the Mineola coach who was the Long Island City coach. He got the job out here at Mineola, and we talked about volunteering there. And I said to him, I said, okay, I'll come in on Tuesdays and Thursdays and game days. Well, it turned into 7 days a week, and it kind of made me think that, I really love this a lot, and I'm glad I'm back into it. And out of the blue, there was a teaching position open at Valley Stream South, and my very good friend Joe Gustafesti is the head football coach at South. So I put in for a transfer from North to South, and the transfer was approved. So I was getting ready to go over there, and then the incredible, wonderful coach who was here, Mike Rubino, told the world, he was also the football coach and the athletic director, he told the world that he was moving to Tennessee to take a job at Heritage High School in Tennessee.
Yeah.
And he's since moved on to Milton, which is a national powerhouse.
Ah, wow.
But that created an opening here. And I was someone with athletic director experience, obviously phys ed experience, and head football coaching experience. So Scott Stuber asked me if I would come over here. And my first reaction was, no, I'm done. That was the first day. Right. And then the second day I said, where do I sign? And it's been the most wonderful, wonderful experience to come back to Central, to walk in the hallways that I was in as a child.
Yeah.
And where I really started my career as a coach.
Yeah.
And look up on the walls and see banners of wrestling teams and football teams that I was part of as a player and a coach. And just be part of the history of this building and give back and, walk the same hallways as the Mr. Mantrones and Dan Tronolones and George Candelases and Rudy Fuscos and Harold Earls, and just be in the same hallways as those guys. It's just a privilege and an honor to be here.
Yeah.
And the kids here are second to none. They are the greatest kids in the world.
Yeah.
It was a good decision to come here.
Yeah. Yeah, I could tell you got every day you hear it. Like when I greeted you at the door, Big smile on your face.
Yeah.
It's like you're in the right spot.
And that's after cleaning up the equipment room while I was waiting for you. There's always something to do as a head coach.
Yeah,
always.
Oh, yeah. That's for sure.
It's
Absolutely.
tough cleaning up after 100 boys.
Yeah. 100 high school boys.
Oh.
Yeah. I know. Sweeping the locker room. Yep.
You know.
Yep, I do. First day here as a head football coach here. What do you say to the kids?
Well, I told them I'm not, I said, you guys are getting a new coach, but I'm not a new coach. And I said, please have faith in me and what we're trying to do. And I need you guys to show up. We're looking for 3 things: ACE, attendance, cooperation, and effort. You give me those 3 things, we'll be great. And then I showed up for my first weight room session. I still have it on video on my phone. It was the most incredible thing that I ever saw. Coach Rubino really created a culture here that worked. And we had 70 kids lined up in the hallway ready to go in to lift.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah. And, at Central, if you open up the gym, kids are going to show up. If you open up the weight room, kids are going to show up. They love it.
I remember in the summer rec, summer rec, they're here, packed out to the gym.
Packed.
And was it at Memorial too?
1 year was a Memorial, 1 year was here. See,
Okay.
what we offer here in Valley Stream is second to none also. We have this program called the GAP program that was created and designed by Stephen Boyd, the NFL 3-time Pro Bowl linebacker from Central High School, that his brother Richie runs. So we have the GAP program in the morning. Then we have weight room with football and on-field clinics with football. And then after that, we have recreation, which has weight room, basketball, volleyball, anything the kids could want to do. And unlike other communities where they're charging a lot of money for these types of things, it costs $0 here.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So the kids can be busy doing something healthy all day long, and it doesn't cost anybody a penny.
Yeah, that's incredible. Stephen Boyd, you told a couple stories of Stephen Boyd. I would definitely like to have him on one day. That would be great.
Amazing.
He was head coach of Chaminade for a while, and I still remember, small story with that, not directly related to him, but kind of directly. I was coaching at Kellenberg at the time, and Chaminade was in the championship game against St. Anthony's. And it was at Mitchell Field. That's where the Catholic League High School League has their game. And they end up winning on a game-winning field goal. And the Mitchell Field is, if you haven't been there, it's just 2 big grandstands on both sides. It was packed. And this was the age before digital tickets or anything. I easily had about $5,000 just in my pocket alone, just from ticket sales. And there were multiple coaches from Kellenberg, because we didn't make the finals that year, that would do like tickets, and we all had probably $4,000 or $5,000. Just that many people, St. Anthony, Chaminade. And it was an incredible game. So I would love to have him on one day and talk about that experience. But that's for another day. But
Mutone's going to have to hook that one up.
Mutone will definitely have to help me out with that one for sure. Yes. I'm having him on too eventually at some point. So
Stephen was amazing. You go back to the 40s. We had Dick Polian. Dick Polian was the backup for Slingin' Sammy Baugh for the Washington Redskins back in the day, and Dick Polian led the NFL in scoring in one of his years in the NFL.
Amazing.
Then you had Phil Laporta in the late 60s. He was a county champion wrestling and tremendous football player here at Central. He went to Penn State, and then he played for the New Orleans Saints, and he blocked for Archie Manning. Then after him came Stephen Boyd, who went to the Detroit Lions and was a 3-time Pro Bowl linebacker for the Lions. And most recently, we had Victor Ochi, who played out at Stony Brook.
Yes, I remember him. Yeah,
Victor. He played at Stony Brook, and then he had a short stint with the Ravens, the Chiefs, and I believe the third one was the Jets. I know it's 3 NFL teams.
I think it was the Jets, because I think I remember seeing on Newsday or something about an article about that. I hope it wasn't paywalled. Newsday, please fix that so we can read all sports that local to Long Island without a paywall. That would be great. Please, no more paywalls. Anyway. So yeah, your first day at Central happens. Break us down how it's been taken over since how many years now it's been?
I'm going into year 5.
Year 5, okay.
Yeah. Well, it's been incredible. I mean, it's been a real microcosm of my career. It's been full of ups and downs as far as wins and losses go, but it's been a steady up as far as relationships with kids and football goes. You know, we really, really strive to provide every kid here with a quality football experience where they're cared about and coached every day. I know I said that before. You know, we have a real program here. The guy who's the Long Island sports fanatic was critical of us one time on whatever platform he's on.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know what type of football program we have. I mean, we provide everything for the kids, from soup to nuts. Quality practice, quality coaching, off-season work, weight room stuff. I mean, gear, fundraising, performance on game days, tunnels to run out of. I mean, all of this incredible stuff. It's a real program. And, you know, the first year we missed the playoffs by 30 seconds. There was an internet threat that prevented, our administration told us that it wasn't safe to practice, so we couldn't practice all week.
Yeah.
And we came in on a Saturday and they let us play the game, and our kids were just too fatigued, and in the last 30 seconds we lost and missed the playoffs in year one. You know, then this year, I mean, it's been near misses.
Yeah.
This year we were going in for the winning score with no time left and fumbled against Jericho and lost 21-20 or 20-19. And then the similar thing happened against Glen Cove. So we're right there.
Yeah, you are
We're
right
knocking
there.
on the door.
Yeah.
You know, we had one really very difficult year, but you know, the kids on that team, I think I don't know if they ever won a game in junior high, JV, or varsity. And you would have never known it.
No,
by the
I
way
know.
They practiced.
Yeah.
You didn't know. You wouldn't know if we were 8-0 or 0-8. They all showed up to practice 98% of the time.
Yeah.
They all worked hard. We were this close to being 4-4, but you know, in a close game, what does it take? It's a call. It's a bounce.
Yeah.
You know, it's an ankle injury or whatever.
Yeah.
And you know, we played some good football.
If there's one thing that you haven't mentioned that you would tell an 8th grader right now across Long Island about your program that makes it special and unique, what would it be?
Well, there's a couple of things. I really think the coaching that we give the kids is right up there with the best. I think the personalized coaching that we give is right up there. But you know what you're going to get here that you might not get in other places is a personal approach towards you as a player. Some places, they just look at you and they say you're not good enough. And we don't do that here. As a coaching staff, if this is you and this is us, we meet you where you are.
Yeah.
And we take you where you can go together. Mm-hmm. That's what we try and do. And that's one of the things I love about football. You know, we don't cut. We take every kid. And we're going to make you make a significant and substantial contribution to the team.
Yeah.
We're going to do that. And that's one of the things that's different about us. Every kid gets a chance. Every single kid gets a chance to prove themselves.
Oh, yeah.
We have a bunch of scrimmages preseason. We have a bunch of practices with other teams. And we also we create a new depth chart every single day.
I remember the meetings. Oh, yeah.
Depending on who
Yeah.
did the job. So you're going to get an opportunity here. Other places, I don't know if you get that same type of opportunity.
Right. So I would kind of wrap that up to opportunity. Really, and you could put it in there. And multiple facets, but that's a great way of putting it, Coach.
You know, Andre Cisco, who plays for the Jets, he's a Valley Stream kid. Grew up right down here on Beverly Parkway, and he was talking to our kids the other day. Not the other day, last June. And one of the kids asked him about, you know, private school, public school. Is it better to go to one or the other? He said, nobody needs to go anywhere. He said, stay where you are.
Yeah.
He goes, the way the recruiting is nowadays, it is if you have the ability and you can do it, you will be found.
Yeah.
And you know what? I'd rather be a big fish in a small pond like over here. You know, than I had one student who went to a private school, and I'm not going to say his name or the school, but it's a pretty cool story. So he left here in 8th grade, and I said to the coach at the other school, I said, hey, did you meet Chris? And he goes, Chris who? That was a 9th grader. And then I said in 10th grade, hey, how's Chris doing? He goes, who's Chris? Then in 11th grade, I said, have you met Chris yet? And he goes, I don't know this kid. And this is every year at night football camp. Finally, in 12th grade, I said to Coach, I said, hey, how's Chris doing this year? He goes, he's competing for the starting spot. Well, this kid that nobody ever knew
Yeah.
for 4 years wound up winning the spot at that private school and winning the Hanson Award. All right?
Wow.
So that's not going to happen here. You're going to be known, you're going to be dealt with, you're going to be appreciated and coached as a person. You're never going to get lost here.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to know who you are.
Yeah.
Everyone's going to know your first name, your last name, and everything about you.
Right. Very specialized in a positive way, too.
Definitely.
Yeah. So, you have a lot of experience head coaching wise. You deal with a lot of people on a daily basis, obviously with teaching and then coaching. How do you manage all those different people? Like, I just am curious because I saw a quote, a tweet about it, I think yesterday, and I'm like, I have to ask Coach Schiavo this, because with all your depth of experience, like, how do you manage and approach different situations with different people? Do you, any good advice that you can give to coaches now, maybe who are just starting out, how you manage people? Because really coaching is, yes, it's X's and O's, but it's really managing relationships.
It really is.
Yeah.
It really is. I think there's two things. Number one, I think if someone tells you they don't have favorites, they're lying to you. All right. Now, coaches have favorites. Who are the favorites? The kids who are at practice on time, the kids who are working hard every day.
Yeah.
You're not going to get limited to one favorite. People do have favorites. People are doing the right thing all the time. And the other thing I would tell people is, you can't treat everybody the same. You can't treat a kid who has lied to you or missed practice the same as a kid who is grinding in practice every day and making excuses to be at practice.
Yeah.
You can't treat them the same, but you can treat everybody fair.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay?
Definitely.
And managing people. The kids aren't the hard part. It's the adults. School administration, getting on the same page with the other adults in the building, the other teachers and whatnot. Those are obstacles that are more difficult to deal with than the kids. The kids are the good part.
Yeah. Rewarding part. They're the rewarding part.
Oh, yeah.
They're absolutely. You see the change a positive way with all the kids that you coach. That's the most resonating thing of why I love to do it in the first place, which is just it keeps you coming back for more.
I think we've established a pretty good relationship with the middle school as of late since I've been here, because we have a tremendous middle school coach, Doug DeRosa. Oh my God, he's amazing. And I think the administration, we have some tough kids playing football, but they're not so tough anymore.
Right.
So we have the kids who do football, they're doing better. Then we have the kids who are doing wrestling, who do better. Then you have the kids who do football and wrestling, and that is nothing short of a miracle, the way that transforms a kid. Those two sports transform kids when you put them together.
Yeah. Athletically and mentally and emotionally.
And maturity-wise,
yeah,
too.
without a doubt. Yeah, that's one thing I wish I did. People told me to wrestle. I had the weight class body type for it, and I was like, I want to go lift weights and run track. So I probably should have tried it at least, just to give myself the exposure.
I could tell you right now, you would have been good.
Yeah,
I want to circle back. I want to circle back to the question you asked me about what will kids get that different here than they'll get in other places?
Of course.
You will get support to be a multiple sport athlete. Specializing in one sport at Valley Stream Central, football, is not encouraged. We want you in the winter, we want you on the wrestling mat, on the basketball court. In the spring, we want you on the baseball field, on the lacrosse field, on the track, because our philosophy is that playing other sports make you better.
Yeah.
Football makes you better at wrestling and baseball. Baseball makes you better at football and wrestling. Basketball makes you a better football player. Because you're competing all the time. You're using your athleticism all the time. And additionally, you're hearing different voices. You're learning how to be coached.
Yeah, that's huge. I think that's kind of something where kids could definitely benefit from.
Yes.
Yeah.
I also see a lot of snake oil salesmen out there who train, they call themselves a trainer, and they get the kids and parents to buy in and pay for their services and whatnot. And then when the kid is in a tryout sport, for example, like hoops or soccer or something like that, and they get to the age where they cut and the kid gets cut, and
Yeah.
I see a lot of kids, that's it. That's the end of their athletic career. They don't know anything else, and they're too shell-shocked from being cut that they don't try anything new. It's really sad. I really would love to see kids be multiple sport athletes all the way through elementary school, junior high, and high school, and then specialize when you go to college. College coaches want to see the multiple sport athlete.
Yes.
They want to see you playing multiple sports.
Yeah, absolutely, they do. Nick Saban said it best, and I mean, who else would you want to hear it from than him? Mm-hmm. You know, they looked at guys. I also think it's also good because another side note with that is you get to, as a coach, you can talk to other kids. Like, let's say you have a kid on the football team who is also on the basketball team. You can talk to that kid that you coach on football about another kid who doesn't play football, but has the athleticism for it, to see if they would want to actually play football.
Yeah.
So it's a good little side way of recruiting, and you can kind of learn from that kid about their positives and negatives and what they could benefit from. You could probably find some things that the kid that doesn't play football could probably benefit from playing football and help them as a better basketball player if basketball is their one sport, which we get it. Everyone's going to have their 1A with favoritism with sports.
It's funny because it's really rewarding when a student athlete listens to you. For example, last night we had our athletic award ceremony, and at the athletics award ceremony we have an award called the Iron Eagle Award, and the Iron Eagle Award isn't given out every year, but when you have a candidate, it's given out, and the Iron Eagle Award is given to a student athlete who plays 3 different sports in 3 different seasons.
Right.
And makes a significant contribution to each of those teams. So last night we were at the awards thing, and a boy who you coached named Nelson Frias gets the football award, all right, MVP for football. And then he gets the track award, all right? But Nelson was also a tremendous basketball player. But when he was in 9th grade, he wrestled and played lacrosse, all right?
Wow.
So, yeah, this young man tried all these different things, and then when he got to 12th grade, did these 3, and track, this was his first year, and he won the MVP for track. All right?
That's amazing.
So, and what's he doing next year? He's playing football in college at SUNY Brockport.
Yeah.
So, it just, he's a great example. That type of kid is a great example of that. And I think we're on the path with more kids doing stuff like that now than when I first got here, and I would love to see that continue.
That's a great story that you can use now to tell anyone else in that situation. Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Now, are you still coaching in the winter and the spring, or are you just doing football?
No, I coached 3.
You're still doing 3?
Yeah, I did football,
okay,
junior high wrestling,
okay,
and golf this year.
Okay. Oh, that's right. You said that before. All right.
Junior high wrestling is where it all started for me. It holds a very, very, very special place in my heart.
Yeah.
And the kids that I coached in junior high wrestling the last 2 years at Memorial were great. I was told for 25 years after I left Memorial that the kids here don't want it, the community doesn't want it, and, it doesn't matter too much over here. And for 25 years, I watched them have 8 kids on the team, 10 kids on the team, be unsuccessful. And then I went over there last year and we had 45 on the team.
That's
and this
amazing.
year we had 48 on the team. And the kids in Valley Stream can be good at anything.
Yeah, they can.
They didn't have a boys lacrosse program for a couple of years. They hired the right coach. He had 64 kids sign up. 64. They didn't have enough kids for a team for the last few years. He had to cut to 22, and they went undefeated.
Wow.
Yeah, same guy who's doing junior high football over there. Give the kids what they deserve, and good things will happen. Care, and good things will happen.
Yeah.
And that's a great example of those 2 programs, what they did.
Yeah, that is. That's incredible.
Yeah. And golf was interesting. Golf, I helped the golf coach here in the early 90s.
Yeah.
And they decided to start a program here, which is a great move, real great move. And now they have a program. Now we'll get a golf coach next year who's going to take it to the next level.
That's
It won't
awesome.
be me, but we laid the groundwork.
That has to be the most frustrating sport. The ball's not moving.
Yeah.
You're standing still for the most part, and you want to just annihilate the ball. But it's like, no, you have to. It's going back to the Mighty Ducks of concentration, not strength.
Yeah, right.
With I don't know if you ever saw that movie.
Of course.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Not your time frame, but still.
Some people are very good at golf.
Yeah, yeah. It's a great sport for focusing.
When I played in the 90s, I played with, when I was helping the other golf coach, because he was a little sick and I had to go out on the matches with him.
Yeah.
It was myself, him from Valley Stream, the Bethpage coach, and the Plain Edge coach. So the first hole, the Plain Edge coach gets a birdie.
Oh.
The Bethpage coach gets a bogey. The Valley Stream coach, John Zabata, tremendous golfer, he gets a par.
Okay.
And the only thing I got was poison ivy because I was chasing my ball all over the course. I was terrible. They were all good golfers. I was terrible.
Oh my goodness.
But it was a good memory.
Definitely a good memory.
Good memory.
And it's also good. It's like, all right, well, I'm not the best at everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Humbling.
Humbling, yes, for sure. I wanted to ask you a specific football question.
Okay.
You have a ton of knowledge with that. You've been a head coach for like nearing
25.
30 years, 25. So
26, really.
26, okay. What could you say to the higher ups to help grow high school football on Long Island?
Help it grow? Well, one of the
Yeah.
things that they're doing to help it grow is this flag thing. This flag thing is great because we're getting football fans with double the fan base of football.
Yeah.
With flag. I would say let the teams play more games. I would say this thing that they're doing now, and I know some people think it's not good, but this crossover thing is incredible. I love it. Play crosstown rivalries.
Yeah, that's huge.
I'd say get lights. Everybody needs lights.
Okay.
Everybody needs to be playing on Friday night.
Yeah.
This Saturday afternoon stuff is for the birds, especially nowadays. If you're putting in a turf field, you put in lights.
Yeah.
You showcase your games. You staff it. You make it a safe place for everybody to be at.
Yeah.
And you highlight it in your community. What are you gonna have four nights a year when you have football games and it's gonna be crowded?
Everybody knows the nights too.
Yeah.
You make it Friday night lights. Everybody knows to go to the field, and I think that's kind of what we're lacking. Again, there's a lot of other things that I'm sure you're privy to with being in coaches' meetings that maybe the general person doesn't know.
Yeah.
I know at me being an official, there's official issues, not like there's just not enough officials. Right. And I can understand why, where you hear people from the stands screaming at officials, or as coaches, we like to get a little crazy on officials too, so I get it. But, there's just a lot of things that I wish that would help promote the kids. My previous guest said that, we really have to make it for the best experience for the kids. Who wouldn't want to play on a Friday night in front of everybody in town, and then you have people from the visiting team come as well and support those kids too? Like, that's just I understand it's not Georgia and we're not shutting the town down.
We pack this place out,
but yeah, you absolutely can. Anything else that comes to mind with growing it?
I think we need. It was a shame that we lost St. John's and that we lost Hofstra football. I mean, those local colleges where local kids could go and play. Yeah, I think that would be tremendous. Like Maritime is a home run for these kids. Not only is it the #1 school in America for job placement and starting salary, but they have football. They filled up the college. The enrollment was dwindling over there, and they brought football there, and the school filled up. I think more colleges in the area are playing football too. Yeah, like attainable football where, like Malloy just started.
Malloy has a
sprint team.
We have
team. Justin Cruz from us is going to play there.
That's awesome.
He is excited as heck to go, and he's going to get coached by one of the finest men that I've ever worked with, Brian Hughes.
Yes, I would love to have him on too as well.
Brian Hughes will not disappoint.
And I believe Coach Baker, who I coached with Kellenberg, I think he's still there. I have to speak to him about that, but I would love to have him on as well. But yeah, I would love to.
More.
We need more. Yeah, we need.
Get the program back, St. John's. Get the program back, Hofstra.
Hofstra would be great. I remember the stories of Hofstra. Going to Kellenberg, it's right next door, and one of the better players from there, they went to Hofstra back in the I guess the mid '90s, and it was great. I remember my first home. I think it was my first home varsity football game was at Hofstra on the AstroTurf, and we had to wear sneakers
Yeah.
And it was like getting tackled on a cement floor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We played a semifinal game there in 2004, and we have more twisted knees and turf burns and cuts in that one game than we had the entire year.
Right.
You know, I still hold a grudge against Hofstra for getting rid of football, and I still hold a grudge against, and I'm an alumnus of Hofstra. I got my second master's degree from Hofstra, and I hold a grudge against them for getting rid of it. I think it was a terrible, terrible thing to do, and I'm very disappointed that that St. John's got rid of it. Also, you know how many kids from Central went there? We had tons and tons. My assistant coach, Lou Monteleone, his brother Chris. Then we had Tommy McPherson, Sean Sharkey, Jason Hughes, Ronnie Ferranti. Oh God, I forget who else. Tony Iadibio, that's one of the best ones. I can't believe I would forget him. They all St. John. Mike Mutone. But he's a Hewlett guy.
He's a Hewlett guy, but
he's a Central coach.
I know. I would love to hear those stories about the St. John's football, about a different time period.
Get it back.
Yeah, it would be great.
Get it back.
It would be great. I mean, maybe Coach Patino can help out and say, I mean, who knows?
You know, he's the guy who I was telling you about, Walter Backman, who was one of my mentors. They're first cousins.
Oh,
yeah.
All right. That's awesome. Yeah. So who knows? Maybe we could put in a nice
talk
word.
to Walter.
Yeah, that would be great.
Yeah.
So, you've coached so many different sports. Let's take football out for a second. Which one's the most profound if you exclude football?
Wrestling.
Wrestling. Really quick, let's talk about that.
Wrestling, you get to see the essence of a person. You do. When I took over the wrestling over here, we were ranked 52nd in Nassau County. And in 4 years, we finished 5th in Nassau County.
Wow.
And it was a meteoric rise. It was incredible what happened. And I wrote letters to the 5 kids who started in junior high, who made it through, who made that happen.
Yeah.
And I called them the Founding 5.
Oh, that's amazing.
And they still have those letters. They graduated in '93.
Wow.
Okay. Wrestling. I'll tell you about one of them. His name is Richie Gaynor. So Richie Gaynor didn't win a match in 7th grade. He didn't win a match in 8th grade. He didn't win a match in 9th grade. He didn't win a match in 10th grade. He won 2 matches in 11th grade. And in 12th grade, he was about 500, and he made it to the finals of the qualifying tournament, where he lost to a Freeport kid who was, way better than him. And after the match, we were at Herrick's High School, and we were sitting next to each other, and he's crying and sweating, and all of a sudden his nose starts to bleed, and he wipes his nose, and he looks at it, and he goes, "Blood, sweat, and tears, coach. That's what I gave you for 6 years. Blood, sweat, and tears."
Wow.
That's the kid who never won a match.
For what, 3 years?
4.
4 years. Wow.
Yep.
Wow. And that's an everlasting memory that kid will never forget.
Yeah.
And that changed his life.
And there's just scores of them.
Yeah.
Who can tell a similar story.
Yeah.
And they're just, and it's another. But all sports have value and teach. However, it's the physical sports, what that I believe where the most is at risk, that provide that extra.
Yeah, for sure. It definitely does, because you literally give blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah.
Yeah, and clearly evident with that example. Thanks, Coach. That was great. So the next question I wanted to ask you was, if you could just kind of go back in time and just kind of change one thing, do you have anything that you would just say, that probably wasn't a good call to do? Like, maybe X's and O's, Y's, or in a game, something like that. Do you have something that just says like, oh boy, that wasn't great?
This is a tough one. You want to say, I wouldn't change a thing, but there are a couple of things. We had that championship game opportunity.
Yeah.
But there's some things that just go unsaid. on the field, and we're playing Roosevelt, and we're going in for the winning score.
Yeah.
And it's first down, and we get 6 yards on first down.
Okay.
I don't call the offense. Second down, we throw the ball. Third down, we throw the ball. Fourth down, we throw the ball. We don't get the ball back. We lose a game. I don't question the person because he's the person who got us there. We're the number 2 scoring offense on Long Island that year. All right. East Meadow had 333. We had 332. Wow. How do I question? I don't question anything. 4 years later, I'm talking to my friend who was calling the offense, and he said, I should have ran the ball.
Yeah.
And I said, you did what you did. Don't worry about it. You know, it is what it is. And it is what it is.
Yeah.
It is what it is. The Cold Spring Harbor game in the semifinals. We're winning for 46 minutes in a 48-minute game. And, you know, it just got away from us.
Yeah.
It just got away from us.
Anything on the positive, on the flip side, where you could say?
Well, before I get to that,
yeah,
I would say that sometimes I yelled before when I should have listened first. You know, when a kid, like if a kid was out or something like that, you know. But you worry about the kids when they're not here. I've had bad things happen when a kid is not at practice and we don't know where they are. You know, I don't want to get into those specifics of those bad things, but yeah, you know, I probably should always listen first before I get loud. I don't get loud as much as I used to, though.
Yeah. I think that's just that's such a great tool, a piece of advice for any coach. Because, you know, you can go into a situation and not know.
Yeah.
And the information will be really valuable before you decided to, right, yeah.
And you were saying positive?
I got to hear the positive. There's got to be.
There's a million positives, but
Anything
there's
that sticks
one
out?
that really, 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 really sticks out.
Yeah.
So it comes off a terrible negative. It's week 8. We're winning 34-14. I had the number 1 running back on Long Island that year. His name was Evan Henry.
And what year was this?
2011.
Okay.
And it's the second half of a game. We're beating Oyster Bay, and he breaks his ankle.
Oh.
So Evan breaks his ankle and needs to get it surgically repaired or whatever.
Yeah, so
And
he's
we're
done.
So we're in the playoffs.
right.
It's the 5-4 game in the playoffs. So we have to go to Seaford. Seaford is the defending, I forget, no, maybe it wasn't the 5-4 game, but Seaford is defending 4-time Nassau County champion.
Very, very, very good program here
All right.
on the island, yeah.
And we have to go there to play them. So the referee looks at one of our kids, James Capizzello, and he says to James, he goes, hey, you guys had a great season. So James goes up to Carmine and says, Coach, he goes, I think these refs think we're going to lose. Right?
Whoa.
So we go into the game, and we're playing a great game with them. And I had the number 2 running back in, who wound up being number 3 on the island in his senior year, Billy Patsos. And, excuse me, and Billy is having just, a tough, grinded out type of a game. I think he finished with like 59 yards, but when we needed it on 4th and inches, he got it by an inch. So we're beating Seaford at the end of the game. Seaford has the ball. They're going in for the winning score with like almost 40 seconds left. And we're playing defense. And their all-world running back, I believe his name was Nick Fischetti, has the ball. And Nick Fischetti goes around the end, and he's sprinting to the end zone. And the only thing standing in his way is Eddie Dietrich. Eddie Dietrich wrestled for me in 7th grade, alrighty? And Eddie Dietrich had his first match against Southside. And he went out there like a little tiger. And he went out there and he lost, I forget if it was 1-0 or 3-2. And he came off the mat huffing and puffing and angry, and he didn't let that happen again.
Right.
I knew what type of kid Eddie was. So the kid Fischetti goes around the end, and Eddie steps up, hits the kid who was in for Evan, Billy Patsos, steps up. Fischetti takes the ball and tries to
Try to reach for the
throw it.
pylon.
Yep, ball falls out of his hands. We cover it in the end zone. It's our ball. take a knee, beat the 4-time defending Nassau County champions, and move forward into the semis against Roosevelt.
That's incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that memory just sticks out like
That was an
like that.
unbelievable moment.
Yeah.
Another one was, obviously the first game I was there, we won, and they had been 2-30 in the 4 years before, and they dumped the water on my head and carried me off the field. Well, I thought I was a good coach, because we beat them, 13-6 in the first game, but yeah, it was just. Then another one that was really cool, old school one.
Yeah.
When I told you, remember I did the junior high guys and
Yes.
brought them up with me?
Yes.
10th grade center, Robbie Hendrick, snaps the 10th grade holder, Danny Deers.
Okay.
And then 10th grade kicker, Paul Maywald, kicks it through the uprights, and we beat Island Trees on the last play of the game.
Very nice.
Yeah.
How long ago? What year was that? You
That
remember?
was the same year as the,
okay.
my first year.
Okay.
There's just a million of them.
A million.
There's
yeah.
a million of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
James Capizzello, Seaford's running an option, and Capo is the backside linebacker, and he runs the play down, and he waits, and the quarterback pitches the ball to the running back over there, and Capo picks off the toss and takes it back.
That's incredible.
Or Billy Patsos, we're playing Roosevelt in the championship game, and it's like 2 out of 3 plays runs away from the Roosevelt defense for 260 and 70-yard touchdowns.
Wow.
Just moment after moment after moment. It was just a beautiful, beautiful career. Here, Isaiah Arthur, I had a death in the family. It was my best friend's mom passed away, and she was very close to us.
Mm-hmm.
You might have been at that game.
I missed him by a year.
Okay.
The year,
okay.
yeah.
And we're playing Uniondale, and I said, the Guardian Angel's going to take care of us in this game.
Yep.
And one of the kids steps up to make a tackle against Uniondale, and the ball pops up in the air, and it lands in Isaiah's hands, and he sprints it in for a touchdown. Joshua Rogers running for 250 yards against Hempstead.
Yeah, that was the year before I came in, I believe. Yeah,
just
that's incredible.
Moment after moment after moment after moment. Just great, great stuff.
So 25 years plus is a long time. Who, when you're game planning as a coach, you look at film for other teams and you're just like, that kid's going to be a problem for us. Like, who just said, this kid's too good? Any kids stick out?
Every Roosevelt running back.
Just every one of them?
No joke.
Okay.
No joke. Because when we had a good season, we played Roosevelt twice.
Right.
Because we'd get them in the regular season and we'd play them in the playoffs. So in 20 years, I think we played Roosevelt 30 times.
Wow.
21
just
years.
battles
I think we played
upon
them.
battles. Yeah.
And a lot of those games were 2-point games, 3-point games, 1-score games.
Yeah.
The Roosevelt running backs, have just been incredible.
Coach Vito's still going, right?
Coach Vito is a wonderful human being, a tremendous coach, and has a passion for this game.
Yeah.
And young people, that is uncommon.
I would love to have him on as well. He would be a great guest to have on too.
He's a good man. He's a good man.
Yeah. That's awesome. Coach, last question. This is going to be a tough one because I know you have so many memories and so many experiences. What's the most rewarding part of coaching?
There's so many rewarding things. I love when I see the kids with their parents. I love when we give them a moment to speak at our senior
Love that. I love that.
morning.
Yeah, for the breakfast.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the kids speak to their parents. There's a couple of things, Matt. I love when we do the St. Mary's visit and the little project we do at the end where I ask the kids to write down one adjective that describes their day, and then give a few sentences about why.
Yeah. Whether
it's humbled, whether it's appreciative, whether it's enlightened, whatever the word is about what they learned that day. There's so many things. I've found this career to be all-encompassing.
Yeah.
And I found the good even in the bad a lot of the times. And you got to remember that they're kids. I said to Coach Tronelone one time, I said, Coach, the losses are so hard to take. I said, how do you do it? And he said, The way I did it, he goes, you go home on Sunday and you turn on the TV and you watch the guys who are being paid millions of dollars to play the game make the same mistakes as the kids your kids made the day before.
Wow.
You know, so, you know, I try and take the good with the bad.
Yeah.
Personally, it's made me a different person too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I'm very grateful. I'm very grateful to have been a part of this.
Yeah, it's a really great profession to be in when you're around great kids and great staff. It really is. Even if it's not, you can always make it that too.
You know, the basketball coach here does a tremendous job. His name is Mike Wimmer. He called me up when he was thinking about the job, and he goes, well, what can you tell me about the place? And I said, Valley Stream has the best kids. And as recently as last night,
Yeah.
he's like, you were right. This is the best place to be. The kids are amazing.
Yeah.
They're amazing.
Yeah, they are. Any final words to give before we sign off?
Final words, play multiple sports, do great in school. You know, every point that you get on your average that's a little bit higher opens up another door of opportunity for you.
Yeah.
You know, you can't listen to all adults. You can't trust all adults. But when you find adults that you can trust, listen to every word of advice they give you. Be good to your parents. And have fun playing. Have fun playing. Work your butt off. The harder you work, the more fun it is.
All right. Coach, it was a pleasure.
Likewise.
Thank you so much. This is episode 3 of Coach Vibes. Signing off, everybody. Thank you so much.
3.